defend the freedom to learn, which is essential for education, racial justice, and democratic values. It's the National Day of Action. Civil rights leaders like Mark Morial, the president and CEO of the National Urban League, wanted to pinpoint the dangers to racial justice, democracy, and education from legislations and policies that seek to dangerously undermine truthful education and democratic participation.
Now, just a few years back, some people who traffic in the self-description of being smart intellectuals said that somehow, some way, our history had no intellectual merit or value.
Yes, they did.
And I said, you just got an F in American history.
That part.
Have you not heard of Crispus Attucks?
Yes.
Have you not heard of Harriet Tubman?
Yes.
Now, I realize you may not know Martin Delaney,
Yeah.
but have you not heard of them? We are standing up because for this generation, our message is not on our watch.
Not on our watch.
Say not on our watch.
Not on our watch.
Our ancestors had to deal with a sinister individual by the name of Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Jane Crow too, bro.
Jim and Jane were flag-waving, Confederate worshiping segregationists who trafficked in the embodiment of people like Orwell Faubus, Leander Perez, and George Wallace. As our great leaders, the Big Six, Thurgood Marshall, our leaders in civil rights and black power, sought to vanquish Jim Crow, his son emerged. His son was named James Crow Esquire. James wore a suit.
Yeah.
James had spectacles on.
Yeah.
He had a pocket watch. And he spoke in respectable language. But his intentionality was absolutely the same. James Crow Esquire now has a son by the name of Jimmy Crow. Jimmy Crow carries tiki torches.
Yeah.
Jimmy Crow shows up in places like Charlottesville and the Capitol
Yeah.
with Confederate flags and flags of others, trumpeting the same old sauce as James Crow and Jim Crow. Make no mistake about it, Jimmy Crow is not a nice guy. Jimmy Crow wears no suit. Jimmy Crow doesn't pretend to be respectable. But what Jimmy Crow wants to do is suppress our votes, suppress our history, suppress the rights of women to control their own bodies. Jimmy Crow is real. Standing behind Jimmy Crow are moneyed individuals under the aegis of, and you all should understand, Project 2025.
Talk about it. Tell it.
Which are people with money and power in this country who are going to try to hide behind a screen while they pump millions and billions into voter suppression,
Yep.
history suppression,
That's right.
human rights suppression
That too.
in this country. To fight a battle, we must understand our power, but we must understand our adversary. We must understand that they are serious and they're playing long term.
Long.
Joining me now is Dr. Karsonya Wise Whitehead, the Special Project Manager for the African American Policy Forum and the Superintendent for Critical Race Theory Summer School 2024. How you doing today, Dr. Karsonya?
Thank you so much, Michael, for allowing me to join you today as you sit in for Roland Martin. This is exciting.
Oh, thank you. I think this is my 5th time sitting there for Roland. This is another time where Sigma comes to save an Alpha, but we're going to leave that to the end of the
And then bring
so,
the Delta along for the ride, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, this is something that's very important when we talk about Freedom Summer 1964. You had African Americans and white people from the North going down south to help register African Americans to vote. And we know that was very dangerous work in Mississippi in 1964. So talk about the turnout today. Talk about, give us some of the reasons why this is so important in 2024 when we are dealing with voter suppression coming out of Georgia and other former Confederate states, and when we are dealing with some people who are apathetic about the 2024 election as well.
Thank you so much for that question. So where we are now today at the end of our 2nd annual National Day of Action is we are building this bridge leading toward Freedom Summer 2024. We know that with Freedom Summer 1964, it was about getting people registered to vote. It was about joining together to fight against Jim and Jane Crow. It's about standing up and making your voices heard. We are now here in 2024 in the midst of book banning, in the midst of the work to suppress the histories of Black and brown people and people from the LGBTQIA communities. And we're saying we will not go back. We will not make a U-turn. We actually have to push forward. And today was our line in the sand, again, saying we are not going to stop pushing back against the work that's being done to suppress us. So this is the beginning of our long-term summer-wide effort to raise up the importance of the Freedom to Learn and the Right to Learn campaign.
So on your website, you have some useful tools. One of them is the Civil Rights Majority for DEI Toolkit, the Civil Rights for Majority DEI Toolkit. Can you tell us some about this and talk about the importance of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion? Because if you watch Fox News, they make you think that this is the second coming of the boogeyman or the devil or something like that. This is going to be the downfall of America, DEI.
Well, we start by telling people they probably should not watch Fox 45. You should not go into this system that is looking to erase you and looking to act as if you do not matter, act as if you do not have a voice, act as if your history is not a part of the American historical narrative. So you should probably stay away from things that are
Okay, I'm going to go to my panel here. Let's go to Cameron C. Trimble, CEO, Hip Hop Politics Media, and former White House senior advisor. And also we're joined by Teresa Lundy, principal founder of TML Communications. All right, how you all doing today?
Doing well, doing well.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. So I want to go to Teresa first, then I'm going to go to Cameron, and then we'll go back to Dr. Karsonya. So Teresa, what questions do you have for Dr. Karsonya, and what take do you have on this Freedom Summer 2024 that we're dealing with? Freedom to Learn National Day of Action. This is the 2nd annual one.
Yeah, well, one, I am very appreciative that we are doing it. You know, what we have seen currently happening in our public school systems is that when it comes to civics and social studies, it is not a firm foundation of us learning about our history. So it does take these moments to talk about, you know, freedom and, you know, what does that mean and what does that mean for us and the leaders that, you know, who are prominent today. So I think this is a great time to do so. And I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, what other things we can expect, because, you know, it's usually things that happen at a rally. It's not just about, you know, speaking. It's about the relationships and it's about networking. So very excited, you know, to be part of that.
All right. Now we have Dr. Whitehead's audio fixed, so I'm going to go back to her, and then we'll go to you, Cameron. Okay, so Dr. Whitehead, we were talking about the Civil Rights Majority for DEI Toolkit. So go ahead and finish your thoughts on that. What is it, and why is it important?
Thank you so much. So the resources that we have on our website, including the Civil Rights Majority Toolkit, is designed to help people understand what the work is around DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, about why it is important, about why they're trying to suppress it, and about the ways they can bring it into either their own curriculum, bring it into their own household, or bring it into their own teaching and understanding. So we have laid out these resources so that people can partner with us as we march into Freedom Summer 2024, as we get ready for our Critical Race Theory Summer School, which is going to take place the last week of July. But all of this is designed to get people focused on what the bigger issue is, which is about the heart and soul of America and about this fight for democracy.
Okay, now also on your website, you have an information page that talks about what DEI supporters need to know about Project 2025. And I've been talking about Project 2025 here on Roland Martin Unfiltered, as well as on my show, the African History Network show. And I've heard a number of African Americans say things like, well, we survived 4 years of Donald Trump. Could it get much worse? And I always remind them about what happened in 1980 when the Heritage Foundation released Mandate for Leadership, which was a book that contained 2,000 policies they wanted the Reagan administration to adopt. And this is a ultra-white, right-wing conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation. And in the first term of the Reagan administration, they adopted about 60% of those policies. Yeah. Talk about Project 2025 and why this is so devastating for America, but especially African Americans.
I think that what people need to do first is understand that Project 2025 is happening. It is not just an idea. When policies get discussed, when ideas get discussed, when they get put down on paper, and when they're pushed to people that are currently in office, it means it's a plan that's going forward. Project 2025 promotes authoritarianism. It is a very dangerous, sweeping, right-wing conservative plan designed to rehaul this country and set up what they call America being great again, which is America focusing on being white again. It doesn't just deal with climate issues. It deals with the overhaul of education, the economy, politics, who's invited to be at the table, and how this country should move forward. People are not going to read the 900-plus document. I understand that. People don't have the time or the wherewithal to do that. What we've pulled out and what's on our website are the key points you need to know. You have to be able to discuss this. You have to be able to understand this, and you have to be able to make sure that the people around you who might be thinking about sitting out the next coming election because they don't really like Biden, so they'd rather not vote at all, helping them to understand this is bigger than just voting for or against Biden. It's about making a vote against this country falling under the control of an extreme authoritarianism plan and policy. And Project 2025, when you break down the particulars, you should be very concerned about what type of country you want to live in. You think it was bad under Donald Trump before. Project 2025 is Donald Trump in overload.
Yeah, and one of the things that people have to really be concerned about is Donald Trump does not have to worry about running for re-election. So he was tame in the first term, okay? And also, if he's reelected, I don't think he's ever going to leave office, okay? No, I don't think he's ever going to leave. I don't think he's ever going to leave office. Remember, he incited an insurrection to stay in office the first time, okay? Yes. So before I go to Cameron and to get a question, and I'll go to Teresa also for you as well. What on your website you list? I'm on the website right now. You list 10 actions for May 3rd. 10 actions for May 3rd. Why was May 3rd chosen for the Day of Action, number one? Number two, give us some of those 10 things that people should implement today.
Okay, no problem. So I want to just go back 1 second just to, as we wrap up the Project 2025. And this idea that we're asking people to get very actively involved. We're saying this is not the moment that you can stand on the sideline. Project 2025, we put it there because we want to get people fired up. We are concerned that people are starting to feel that this is not an issue that concerns them. This is an election they don't have to be involved in. This is a moment that they can disengage because they're upset about bigger issues. And we're saying this is a moment when you have to engage. This is a moment when you have to get involved, because what we're talking about is the future of our nation. We understand that Donald Trump sincerely believes that he is elected again, he will never leave office. We also know one other thing is going to happen. Immediately, you're going to see 2 Supreme Court justices put in their papers so they can resign, and we can put in Clarence Thomas 2.0 to set up the Supreme Court to be ultra conservative for the next 150 years. So I want to just put that down in terms of the policies that we're looking at. When it comes to May 3rd, this is our 2nd annual National Day of Action. We started with this last year, where we had over 120 activations happening around the country. We had teachers and parents, professors, we had educators, we had pastors with civil rights organizations joining with us to say we are going to stand up and protect the freedom to learn. So we went back to May 3rd because it is the 2nd annual, and we've asked people to join with us and do things that are both kind of low-hanging fruit and something that's a little bit higher. So some of the things that we were asking people to do for May 3rd is to take a picture with the banned book and tweet that out. Go to hashtag Freedom to Learn or hashtag Freedom Summer 2024 and just show people that you read banned books. You may try to read banned books. You can't ban knowledge. You can't ban us. And then we said you can turn your environment into a freedom school, where you're actually sharing these banned books. You're dropping them off at beauty parlors and barbershops. You can take your church and turn it into a Freedom Sunday and share the information about what we're doing. We are making the argument that as we start today, every single environment, from schools to pulpits, community shops, barbershops, beauty shop parlors, corners, we need every single person to push in and help us as we are working out this idea of democracy, because that is what is at stake here. Not just about who the next president is going to be for the next 4 years, who is going to determine the direction of this country and the pathways that are being set down right now.
Okay, and I'm going to camera here in just a minute, but when I talk to people about politics, I explain to them politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources. And when it comes to voting, it's not about the action of voting, it's about the outcome. So you vote for whose policies are most beneficial for African Americans, whose policies will do the least amount of harm, policies that are good for us or good for America in general, who will protect gains that have already been made, who can create an environment for you to push your agenda the farthest and get the most accomplished. So this is beyond just voting for a political party. It's not about the party, it's about the policies. Okay, so this is what I think is really important for people to understand. And you vote for power. You vote for policies that are beneficial to you, beneficial to your family, and beneficial for your community. When we change what the outcome of voting is, I think we'll change what the results are. If you think that you just vote because of Dr. King and Fannie Lou Hamer and Rosa Parks and John Lewis, yes, we need to understand their struggle and what got us here, but it's also important to understand why people fear our vote as well. Why voter suppression laws are put in place. They fear the collective power, political power that African Americans have. Cameron, go ahead with your questions for Dr. Karsonya Whitehead, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to join you today. As you can see, there's been so many opportunities from Florida to Texas and so many where they're not only banning books, banning African American studies, even fraternities and sororities, ERG groups at companies are all under threat. And I think they're just stripping away and trying to raise a whole nother generation who are ignorant of our history, taking the word slavery out of books and out of learning. Can you talk to me about how we are implementing this, like something that we do state to state? Because I think different states have taken kind of different approaches to this, whether they're putting in legislation, whether it's down to the county and city level. But I think while we need to raise national awareness, it's like we've got to really attack this state to state, because some of these laws and some of these regulations have already passed in some of these places. And I'm scared that once the genie is out the bottle, it'll be hard to get it back in.
Thank you so much for that question. We know that during Freedom Summer 1964, people were united against one common goal. They were trying to break the back of Jim Crow. So whether you were in New York or you were in Alabama, you were in Mississippi, you all had one common goal. Once that national back was broken, what we have been dealing with is the local Jim and Jane Crows and what happens state to state. This is a state level battle here. We saw that with Black Lives Matter. The push in Mississippi for freedom and equality looks a little bit different than the push in Ohio, which means we need more leaders on the local level. We need people to rise up and understand that who you put into office on the local level determines the direction of your state. Getting out and voting for your governor, getting out and voting for your board of education, getting out and being involved in local politics. I never quote Tip O'Neill except in this one instance when he says all politics are local. We need people to understand that you want to keep your eye on what's happening in Washington, D.C., but President Biden is he's not going to control the school board in your city and in your state. You've got to do the work, making sure that the people you elect are about moving this country forward, which is why we need Democrats. I always argue they have to fall in line. We have a habit of waiting to fall in love with the candidate, and if we don't fall in love with anyone, then we don't vote at all. We need to fall in line and vote down the line so we can make sure we are holding the line.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And, I explain to people it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about the policies and understanding how to use politics as a tool to accomplish what it is that you want. Okay, let's go to Teresa. Teresa, did you have a question or comment for Dr. Karsonya?
I did. Looking at some of the comments that people have been writing in the chat, they kind of want to reiterate what day and time is this rally so they can participate as well as the website.
Thank you so much. So our website is www.aapf.org. The rally happened today. We were at 11 o'clock this morning. We were at the Library of Congress and we marched to the Supreme Court. But this is the beginning of our march toward Freedom Summer 2024. And so we're encouraging people to go onto our website or follow us on Twitter or IG at AA Policy Forum. Connect with us because we will have more activities. For example, next Thursday, we are hosting another virtual homeroom. We meet online. You can go to our website. You can connect with us. And we get online. And we had everyone last night from Professor Kimberly Crenshaw to Reverend Al Sharpton to Reverend Siobhan. I mean, we had so many people joining us last night in our homeroom rally, which is virtual. We're asking people to start making a plan. Join us there as we lay out our long-range plan and goals for this summer, including our critical race theory summer school.
All right, Dr. Karsonya, thanks so much for coming on today and sharing this information on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This is Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Now, if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network a few ways. Be sure to register for the online history classes that I teach on Saturdays. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understand the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. This is a 10-week class. We're doing more than 10 weeks this time around. Next classes are Saturday, May 4th, Saturday, May 11th, Saturday, May 18th, and Saturday, May 25th, 2024, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Click right here to register here for the class. The class is on sale $60, regularly $130. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it any time. So a year from now, 2 years from now, you can still watch the entire course. We have the lesson plan here for the entire course also already laid out, so you can look at the content that we cover. We deal with 80 to 100 articles, and I put together this class. I've been teaching this class on and off since 2017. Okay, I've been studying history 34 years now. Do lectures across the country. Been hosting the African History Network show 14 years, but we look at there's over 200 slides that I put together, 80 to 100 articles that we'll go through and look at, the 15 books that we reference. You don't have to buy any of these books to follow along in class. I'll show you excerpts of the books on the screen usually. And we look at video clips of interviews I've done with historians like Professor James Small, Professor Kabahai Wapakamane, Anthony Browder, who wrote Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, which is one of the books we use in the class, Runoko Rashidi, who wrote Black Star, The African Presence in Early Europe, which is another book that we use in the class, okay? So you can register for this. This content is PG-13. You can use this information with your children as well. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Okay. And we'll post the link here. The link's in the thread of this broadcast. And you can support us through PayPal and Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, and through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN show. So we have the information right here on the website as well. This is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN show, SHOW. When you go to it, it'll say Michael and show my picture there. These are fake African History Network Cash App accounts here that have been stealing money from us. There are a few other ones out there I've identified. I'm still trying to get them shut down. You can click right here on our link and it shows our QR code, okay, for Cash App. This helps us stay on the air, keep doing the research, pay some of the bills, etc. Upgrade equipment, take care.